Imagine a secret so profound, so intertwined with political power that it remained buried for nearly 3 decades. This isn't fiction. This is the story of Operation Gladio, a clandestine Cold War strategy that reshaped Europe. The year is 1947. Europe is a continent divided. The Iron Curtain has fallen, and the specter of Soviet expansion looms large. Western powers fear a swift, overwhelming invasion, potentially rolling across the continent. In response, NATO nations, spearheaded by the United States and Britain, devised a desperate plan: stay-behind armies. These clandestine groups would function as resistance fighters if their countries were overrun by communist forces. Italy's stay-behind network was the most extensive and controversial. It became known as Operation Gladio. Ostensibly, its role was to sabotage Soviet advances, but its true scope and activities would remain hidden for decades. Recruitment for Gladio was diverse, often drawing from anti-communist factions, including former fascists and right-wing extremists. This choice would later fuel suspicions about its true political agenda and potential abuses. Operatives were rigorously trained in sabotage, intelligence gathering, and guerrilla warfare. These exercises took place in secluded locations, often in mountainous terrain or remote coastal areas, far from prying eyes. Across Europe, vast networks of hidden weapons caches were established. Subterranean bunkers, forest clearings, and abandoned buildings became secret arsenals, stocked with explosives, firearms, and communication equipment. The entire operation was shrouded in extreme secrecy, compartmentalized to prevent any single person from knowing the full scope. Only a select few at the highest levels of intelligence agencies were fully aware. The CIA played a pivotal role in establishing and funding many of these stay-behind networks across Western Europe. They provided intelligence, training, and equipment, effectively building a shadow army. While initially designed for Soviet invasion, questions arose about Gladio's mission. Did it expand beyond events? Was it ever used for internal political purposes, influencing domestic affairs in NATO countries? Italy in particular experienced the years of Lead, a period of intense political instability, bombings, and assassinations from the late 1960s to the early 1980s. Many blamed extremist groups. One of the most horrific acts was the 1980 Bologna train station bombing, killing 85 people. Initial investigations pointed to right-wing terrorists, but the truth would be far more complicated, involving deeper state secrets. Could these extreme right-wing elements, recruited into Gladio, have acted outside their defense mandate? Could their actions have been covertly directed or even tolerated by elements within the state? This period in Italy became known as the strategy of tension. The idea was to create such widespread fear and instability that the public would demand a stronger authoritarian government to restore order. The question loomed: were these terror attacks truly independent actions, or were they orchestrated by elements linked to Gladio, designed to discredit the growing influence of the Italian Communist Party? For decades, the existence of Gladio remained a whispered conspiracy. But in the late 1980s, cracks began to show. Journalists and investigators started piecing together fragmented evidence. Italian investigating magistrate Felice Casson was pivotal. While investigating a 1972 car bombing, he uncovered a network of hidden caches and realized a vast secret organization was at play. In October 1990, Italian Prime Minister Giulio Andreotti finally confirmed the existence of Operation Gladio to Parliament. His admission sent shockwaves through Italy and across Europe. Immediately, the European Parliament condemned the secret operation. A resolution was passed, expressing deep concern and calling for full investigations into the stay-behind networks across all member states. Confirmation of Gladio in Italy opened a Pandora's box. Soon, similar stay-behind armies were uncovered in Belgium, Germany, France, Austria, and other NATO and neutral European countries. For many, the revelations confirmed their worst fears: a deep state conspiracy. Defenders argued it was a necessary defensive measure against a genuine Soviet threat, kept secret for operational security. What did this mean for trust between allies? The US and UK had orchestrated or supported these networks without openly informing their European partners, raising diplomatic tensions. The scandal left a lasting legacy of distrust, particularly in Italy. Many believed that unelected elements within the state and allied intelligence agencies had manipulated national sovereignty. In the aftermath, several European countries launched official inquiries. While some information was declassified, many questions remain unanswered, fueling ongoing debate and speculation. Who were the true architects of Gladio? While official records point to NATO's clandestine planning committee, critics argue deeper, more shadowy figures were pulling the strings. Gladio wasn't a single entity but a sprawling network of networks. Each country developed its own structure, often with varying degrees of oversight, leading to diverse outcomes. For many, Gladio provided tangible proof of a deep state, unelected officials and agencies wielding immense power, operating beyond democratic control and accountability. Beyond direct action, some alleged Gladio affiliates engaged in psychological warfare, spreading disinformation and propaganda to influence public opinion and discredit communist movements. With the fall of the Berlin Wall and the collapse of the Soviet Union, the ostensible reason for Gladio's existence vanished. Yet, its shadow lingered, raising questions about accountability. Gladio highlighted a silent, unseen battle fought on European soil for decades. A battle not with conventional armies, but with secrets, subversion, and the manipulation of public fear. The ethical lines were undeniably blurred. Can a democratic state justify covert operations that potentially undermine its own democratic processes, even in the name of national security? A major unresolved question is the extent of knowledge. How many political leaders were truly aware of Gladio's operations, especially the alleged abuses, and for how long? Even today, nearly 30 years after its formal disclosure, the scars of Operation Gladio persist. Its legacy is a vivid reminder of the dangerous tightrope walked during the Cold War. Could similar stay-behind networks or programs with similar clandestine objectives still exist today? What lessons, if any, have been truly learned from the Gladio debacle? Beyond the political machinations, it's crucial to remember the human cost, the victims of bombings, terror attacks, and the countless lives shaped by an era of fear and uncertainty. Many documents related to Gladio still remain classified or are incomplete. The full story may never be known, leaving historians and the public to grapple with fragments of truth. Operation Gladio is more than just a historical footnote. It's a profound cautionary tale about the perils of unchecked state power and the slippery slope of manipulating democracy. The role of tenacious journalists and investigative reporters in bringing Gladio to light cannot be overstated. They risked their careers and even their lives to uncover the truth. Gladio arose from a specific geopolitical climate, but its implications resonate far beyond the Cold War. It forces us to question the lengths nations go to in the name of security. For many years, those who spoke of clandestine armies and deep state involvement were dismissed as conspiracy theorists. Gladio proved that sometimes, truth is stranger than fiction. This saga compels us to reflect on the nature of democracy itself. How can a society remain free and accountable when such powerful hidden operations exist beneath the surface? Was it treachery, a necessary evil, or simply a byproduct of an existential global conflict? The answers depend on your perspective and the information you choose to believe. Fear of communism drove the creation of Gladio. But fear, unchecked, can lead to desperate measures that ultimately betray the very values they were created to protect. While Gladio is often associated with Europe, similar stay-behind concepts or covert operations have been speculated in other regions during heightened geopolitical tensions. Is it an isolated incident? Those involved in Gladio took a lifelong oath of secrecy. For many, that oath transcended subsequent disclosures, meaning the full truth likely died with them. The echoes of Gladio continue to reverberate, shaping historical narratives and debates about state power, transparency, and accountability in a post-Cold War world. In an increasingly interconnected world where information flows freely, the ability to maintain such extensive and prolonged secrets becomes ever more challenging. Could Gladio happen today? Ultimately, Gladio poses a fundamental question: who truly holds power in a democracy? The visible elected officials, or the invisible hand of the deep state? For decades, the citizens of Europe were unknowingly living alongside these hidden armies, oblivious to the plots and counterplots unfolding in the shadows of their democracies. While specific agencies like the CIA were involved, NATO itself was implicated in the oversight and coordination of these stay-behind networks, a role it initially denied. Gladio presents a paradox. Designed to protect Western's democracies from communism, it utilized tactics that often resembled the authoritarian regimes it sought to combat. Understanding Gladio helps unravel the complex dynamics of control and influence that played out behind the scenes during one of history's most tense standoffs. This secret operation rewrites our understanding of the rules of engagement during the Cold War. It suggests that covert, unconventional warfare was far more prevalent than realized. Could Gladio serve as a historical blueprint for similar operations in an increasingly complex and clandestine global landscape? The implications are sobering. The greatest damage inflicted by Gladio may be the erosion of public trust in democratic institutions. Once lost, such trust is incredibly difficult to rebuild, leaving a cynical populace. Despite declassification, the full narrative of Operation Gladio continues to unfold. New documents, testimonies, and interpretations constantly emerge, adding layers to its already complex history. The story of Gladio serves as a potent reminder that eternal vigilance is the price of liberty. Citizens must remain watchful of those who wield power in their name. The weight of this hidden past continues to bear down on European politics and public discourse, influencing contemporary debates about security, surveillance, and government transparency. Many historians and activists continue to call for the full declassification of all remaining Gladio-related documents to ensure maximum transparency and accountability for past actions. The story of Operation Gladio exemplifies the extreme, and often dangerous, lengths to which governments will go in times of perceived existential threat. The price of secrecy is often paid by democracy itself. What are your thoughts on Operation Gladio? Share your insights and questions in the comments below. Like and subscribe for more deep dives into history's most compelling mysteries.